I'm Mombirella.
I'm Yukita Cosplay.
And I'm TJ Peterson. Welcome to Magic Making Mischief. Today we have special guest Peter Kelamis. Before we get ready, get your wands to the ready because we solemnly swear we're up to no good. And today we have, like I said, special guest Peter Kelamis. Peter, are you with us?
I am. How are you guys?
Your screen is frozen.
Let me just
Good.
frozen. Okay, good.
We have with us already.
Am I moving now?
No. We already have Marissa with us who says hi. Trevor says hi, guys. Jeremy says hello, everyone. So we've already got some with us joining us. Peter and I have actually worked on, oh gosh, Peter, how many Comic-Cons?
We've done a few together now.
3, 4, 5, something like that.
I think
Why not?
closer to 5.
I think it's closer to 5 too.
I was gonna say because I've been to at least 2, and I know you've been to more than that with them. So
yeah, I think
has the image fixed? Has the image fixed here?
No, you're still frozen.
It's just frozen, but we can hear you fine. So
okay, I'm gonna try to see what I can do here.
Yeah, and you're not making any funny faces, so you know it's okay.
Yeah, that's usually me.
You're showing a black screen on my end, so I don't know.
I see just frozen. So
I see frozen.
Let it go. Let it go.
Start and stop the camera. Did that work?
Nope. Looks like Elsa's messing with us.
I don't know what just happened. We were all fine, and then okay.
And then we started.
It's Murphy's Law, you know.
It happens all the time.
It does.
Indubitably.
Hopefully it will catch up in a minute, but let's go ahead and talk about what are some of the most notable roles that you think people will recognize you from? I know a few off the top of my head, but I'm gonna let you tell us which ones you pick on those.
Yeah, probably the most recognizable that bring me to conventions would be Goku and Dragon Ball Z, and Rolf and Ed, Edd n Eddy. Those are probably the most major ones, the most recognizable ones as far as conventions go. But I've done a great many of on-camera things as well, like Stargate Universe, a series called Beyond, guest starred on a great many number of shows and movies and things like that. So it's been a long, kind of busy career. It's been fun.
You were Rolf? That's awesome.
Yeah, because you've done not just voice acting, you've actually done acting roles. You've done both.
Right.
Both.
Yeah. I primarily started with stand-up comedy, and that kind of led into acting and other things and voice work as well. So it started with jokes, and then casting directors would come down to the show and check us out and then bring us down for auditions. And then, some of us were lucky enough to kind of parlay that into other stuff.
That's awesome.
There you go. We have somebody pop in. I can't pronounce it, but they say hello, my friend. And this is sent a couple really cute emojis. So one of the things that I absolutely love, Yoda is one of my favorite characters from Star Wars, and you actually got to play one of my favorite characters in the Lego movie.
There we are.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that working now?
Yeah, there you go. Okay. You got it.
All right. Good. I was feeling bad that I did something, but it was just a resolution thing. Anyways, good. Yes, I got to play Yoda in Star Wars Lego, the mini movies. And I say that because they had another actor playing Yoda for the regular part of the series, and then they had these other mini movies, and they recast the character for, I don't know why. But I was lucky enough to get the role of Yoda, and being a huge Star Wars fan myself, it was a bit of a pinch me moment, that I got to play this character that I grew up watching. I mean, I remember going to the first one of the first screenings of The Empire Strikes Back, where we get introduced to Yoda, and being able to play him later on in any kind of incarnation was just a thrill. And when I got to do it, it was still owned by Lucas. So when I got my check, it was like, payment by LucasArts. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't
Do I
know.
cash it? Do I not cash
And
it?
then I look at the check and I'm like, okay, I'm going to cash the check and then I'll put a photocopy up on the wall.
Right?
Of course.
That's awesome.
Or it's like, can you cash this and give it back to me? And
Exactly. Yeah. Is
do
George
not
going to
cash
sign
scan
it
or
back?
something.
And will I get this back or how does it work?
Your friend says hi, Mumbrella, and then Jeremy says Star Wars. 2 thumbs up.
Haha. Now, another one that I was surprised to find out you'd done. My daughter was really into Barbie movies.
Yeah.
And you were in one of the Barbie movies too.
You really?
I was in
were?
eight different Barbie movies. So
8 of them?
if you ask me to list them, I can get to about 5 and then I start confusing them myself. But there was a couple that were kind of memorable as far as the characters that I got to play. One of them was a character called Pim. He was this crazy little bat. And he was like the crazy sidekick to the evil guy. And the evil guy was played by, oh my God, why am I blanking? Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Tim Curry?
Tim Curry, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
played by
okay.
Tim Curry. So we were sitting there in studio and we didn't know this going in. And then we heard, oh, Tim Curry is playing the evil guy, and you're his sidekick. And we did not think, or at least I didn't think that he was going to be there. I thought they were just going to patch him in via satellite or something like that. But there we were. And then in comes Tim Curry. So I'm recording Tim Curry for 2 days. And in between takes, I was just like a kid at his grandpa's feet at Christmas. It's like, more stories, more stories. And then he would fire out some crazy story about something that happened on stage or during filming of Rocky Horror. And it's like, you can't believe you're there with these people sometimes. And he was so sweet and funny.
That's awesome.
And I did this crazy English kind of accent. And it's like, are you looking particularly regal tonight, sire?
Oh my gosh, my daughter's freaking out in the corner over here because she knows exactly who you're talking about.
So, I remember when I fired out that first line, he was right beside me and he goes, and I finished my line, and yeah, I just hear him half under his breath jokingly to me goes, "You're not quite right, are you?"
From Tim Curry. Got it.
Tim Curry, compliments from Tim Curry. It was a pretty cool moment.
Nice.
So, and then also we were in The Princess and the Pauper, right? Is that the right one? No,
Yes.
no. Yes, it was that the one. Okay.
Yeah, like I say, there were so many that they some of them kind of meld together. And there was another one, Barbie and Rapunzel, where I played a character. Yeah,
I remember that.
And this hit me about a few years ago, maybe about two and a half years ago. Somebody contacted me on Instagram and they said, because I got nicknamed the Horny Weasel, because there's this one line that I do in the movie where they've captured one of the princes, and then my character just kind of pops up, and for whatever reason I just delivered the line as pretty much close to this is, give him to me. Oh. So I did this, recorded this in like 2012, didn't really think much of it, it was warmly received. But then when somebody contacted me about 3 years ago, they said, you're known as the Horny Weasel now, and it's got millions of hits all over the internet. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's probably a GIF now or something. I mean, it's got to be.
It is. It's a meme. And if you go to YouTube, that line has been translated into every language on the planet, and there's montages, sites that have like 5 million hits and 6 million hits, and it's complete insanity.
Oh my gosh.
When the internet is going on while you sleep and you don't even know what's happening, and you wake up and you're like, what happened?
So Peter Kelamis broke the internet. Got it.
I did. I didn't know.
You should see her face over here. She's cracking. It just gave one of her favorite Barbie movies a whole new twist that she never saw coming.
Here for the comments. Says Rolf at his house?
Rolf for laughing and John Bordeaux says, hey.
Rolf is the character from Ed, Ed and Eddie, right?
Yes,
Mm.
he's
Yeah.
the foreign exchange student, if you will.
Yeah.
Just at
Yeah.
his actual house.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a reference. All right.
At Rolf's house.
Nana's on the other side of the door, red boy.
Um, when a lot of people ask, like, how did you get Rolf, or how did you get the character of Rolf? And this is a true story. I had auditioned for every single male character on the show, every one of the Eds, Kevin, Johnny, everybody, everybody, and didn't get it. So it was like dead in the water. I moved on. They didn't want me. And excuse me, a female actress friend of mine was auditioning for one of the female roles. So she was outside of we were outside of the voice studio. She was in there auditioning. And then the director, Terry Clausen, who I actually am still very good friends with, who went to the hockey. He took me to the hockey game last night, the Canucks game. So we're still pals.
Oh, nice.
He comes running out and says, "Hey," with a piece of paper, and says, we just wrote this foreign kid neighbor. We just want to, the only rule is that we don't want a discernible accent. Like, we want it to not be specific to a certain region. I'm like, okay. So I had about 5 minutes with it. And I just ran in. It was like,
Hello, red boy.
and they're like, yeah, we like that. And, 11 years later, we were doing the last episode, but it was one heck of a run. It was a lot. That show was a lot of fun to do. But it was so much fun to do that they had to divide us. Because when you counted the Ed boys and the other kids in the cul-de-sac, there was like 12 actors or something in the booth when we first recorded, which was pandemonium. Pandemonium, oftentimes caused by me reading Rolf's lines, because they were so
it would
funny.
be.
So funny unto themselves. It was like getting pitched home run balls every time. Like, every line was hysterical, and the other cast would crack up as we would crack up with their lines. It was a mutual crack up fest. So, and
Rolf
then we
was
would
my favorite character. Because he was just so off the collar, off out of pocket. He was like the instigator that wasn't trying to instigate. That's just how he was.
That's just how he was. And the insults were so insane that we'd do the read through when we first got there. We'd be laughing so hard. And then we get to the line, we just laugh all over again. It was just so much fun. The funnest character I've ever got to do.
We need to catch up on a few comments. Marissa says her birthday is this Friday, so happy birthday, Marissa.
Happy birthday, Marissa.
Zach says hi, guys, and also says I loved Ed. Ed and Eddie was one of my favorites.
Thank you, red boy.
Agreed. Same.
So what was one of your favorites?
As far as voice, it was Rolf for sure. Just because, I mean, it was like, when I say, it was almost like illegal how much fun we had, and we couldn't believe they were still paying us having that much fun to go to work. It wasn't work. It was just a bunch of friends getting together and making each other laugh.
So each person has a story. How did you get into it?
Into just voiceover in general.
Mm-hmm.
I started in stand-up comedy, and I used to do a lot of impressions. Like, I started with like Dr. Ruth, and then Jim from Taxi, and then that evolved other impressions and celebrities and actors and all that as they roll their way through popularity. So that turned into doing shows on stage, and then casting directors coming down to the show and saying, "Oh, wow, we'd like to get that guy to come and read for our commercial or our TV series, maybe a guest star role or something like that." So that's how it started. And it was like, they would say, "Come in, read, and see what happens." So I did quite well at commercials at the time. But I think maybe just the stand-up skills and being able to be kind of big and goofy and kind of know comedic timing helped that out. My most successful run of commercials was at my buddy's place. All my best friends, we were watching a hockey game, and there was a commercial break, and I'm not kidding. There were 5 commercials in the commercial break, and I was in 4 of them. And then,
are you serious?
And then, of course, they're like, they're good friends, and they're like, look over at me, and they're like, "We got to look at your ugly ass face now, like here and on TV." Like, really? And I'm like, I don't know. It's a
I
living.
don't know what to tell you, man. I just.
Yeah.
It be like that sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can't choose who you work with.
Yeah. So I mean, and then the commercials, like I say, ran into or turned into voice auditions, and then I for the longest time I could not land a voice role. Believe it or not, I kept trying. I just couldn't land a series. I would have little guest star things here and there, but I just couldn't get it. And I was actually telling my agent at the time, like, that maybe you should stop sending me to these things because I'm not, I don't know what I'm not doing right. I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong, but I'm not doing something right. And then I got one series, and it was like 65 episodes, which was huge at the time. Like, you'll be lucky. And nowadays, if a series runs like 12 or 13 episodes, this was 65. So it was a massive series. And then shortly afterwards got Dragon Ball Z and Ed, Ed and Eddie. And then it was like, once I broke through, it was like the world opened up and its opportunities opened up after that.
Mhm. Marissa says thank you. So have a happy birthday, Marissa.
Happy birthday.
So do you have like, I mean, I love your story with Tim Curry and everything. Do you have any like funny stories that you could share with us from kind of behind the scenes thing that happened during some
Especially
of your
from
stuff?
Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Well, that's where I think I forgot to get to the part where I said we got into so much trouble that they divided us. So they said we're joking around so much, and it started extending the record time because we were laughing and messing around. And they said, "That's it. We're going to record the 3 in one session, and all the cul-de-sac kids in another session."
Aww.
So it didn't help because we still had fun. So they thought it would help, but not really. But behind the scenes things, interesting stories. There was one time, this is kind of strange, but it was a moment where I was talking to another actor friend of mine. This was years ago, and we were talking about different actors that we would love to work with, and I don't know, being guys, I guess the topic came up. It's like, well, what actress do you think is in addition to being talented, is just gorgeous that you would love to work with? And I was like, oh wow. At the time, I threw out, Salma Hayek, I think, is just stunning and very talented, as is Angelina Jolie. And within 2 months, I got to work with both of them.
Oh,
Like completely out of the blue. And I'm like, I got to make more lists.
For real.
Yeah, just completely out of the blue. The Angelina Jolie thing was a movie called Life or something like it. And literally, I was driving over the bridge into downtown, and my agent called and he goes, "Yeah, you just got hired off of your tape." And I'm like, "What tape? I didn't have any auditions to play." And he goes, No, like your demo reel. So you're going in on Tuesday, and you got like 5 days with Angelina Jolie playing her boss. And I'm like, what are you talking about right now? I'm on a bridge. It's gonna be an accident. Like, what are you saying?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're saying I'm working with Angelina Jolie. Okay.
Yeah. And then it was a few days later, and it's like, there she was on set, and she's extremely nice and, extremely great to work with. And I made sure, I was hoping to get a picture with her at the end, and she couldn't have been nicer about it. So it was my final scene with her. And I was like, would you mind? And she was like, of course. So nice. And I still have the picture, and it's a great shot.
I'd be checking my watch going, is it April 1st? Is it?
No, I know. And then the other one was, it was a really good movie on paper, but for some reason it just didn't click when the whole thing came together. It was a movie called Chain of Fools. And this cast was like Steve Zahn and like I say, Salma Hayek and Jeff Goldblum. The cast was like incredible. And it's this movie that nobody's really heard about. But it was the same thing where they wanted to have like a rehearsal day. And I remember just going into the rehearsal space, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Salma." And I'm like, "I know who you are." Wow.
Very aware of your work.
It's surreal sometimes. Like, I fanboy sometimes over actors that I see, not just ones I get to work with sometimes, but even at conventions. There's times where, I get jittery. I remember I was at a convention about a year and a half ago, and it was Catherine Mary Stewart was there with Last Starfighter, among other movies. and I always thought she was amazing. And I just walked up to her and I said, "Hey, I'm signing over there. I'm fumbling my words. I'm like, would it be okay if I'm just fanboying?" And I looked like an idiot. And she was like, "Well, no, you should come take a photo together." And it turns out she was from Edmonton growing up, like, which I had no idea. And I'm like, "What are you, Canadian? I didn't know this." And she came over to the table in between, quiet times. We chatted, and she was so, so nice. And it's just neat working with people that you watched growing up. It's a pretty cool gig.
That'd be very cool.
That's rad.
Awesome. I love it.
Like one story was there was an actor in Vancouver called Chris Gauthier. He was on Once Upon a Time, was one of his more popular credits. He was a great guy, and he passed away about a year and a half ago, very suddenly. But there was a few years back where there was another movie that both me and him had got cast on, and it was called Edison Force. And again, huge cast that it just didn't really click. But
Wait, I did watch that movie.
Did you really?
That sounds.
I
that
did
sounds-
actually.
the name sounds familiar.
Morgan Freeman, Justin Timberlake, among other people. It was a really good cast. LL Cool J.
That one I
It
did.
was
I did watch
amazing.
that one.
Yeah.
Dang.
So we got these small parts because it was supposed to be set in a newspaper office, like a newspaper that they would distribute, like the Daily Star or whatever. And Morgan Freeman was like the editor that came in. It was supposed to be this really tense moment where me and my other friend Chris took these
I
photos.
gotta
And
watch
really
it again.
They were really sensitive photos that we shouldn't have had. It's a tense moment. Do we publish these because it's going to cause a huge thing? And we were sitting there waiting to practice, run the scene and waiting for Morgan to come in. And me and Chris are kind of giggling, like, "Can you believe we're here? I can't believe we're here." From about 10 or 15 feet away, it's like Morgan Freeman's voice enters the room before he does, right? It's just like, "Hi, everybody. He's here. He's here."
Goodness.
And he introduced himself because we're going to rehearse a scene. And he went up to Chris and he goes, "And what's your name?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm playing. This is how small our roles were. He goes, "I'm newspaper boy number 1." And then Morgan goes, "And what's your real name?" "Chris."
Oh.
"You'll be known as Chris now." "Yes, sir."
Oh.
And he turns at me and he goes, "And what's your name?" And I goes, "Newspaper boy number 2." And then he goes, "Yo, what's your real name?" "Peter." "You'll be known as Peter now." It was like getting christened by the Pope. It's like, "You will be known as Peter now."
Oh my goodness.
And sure enough, we did the scene, and instead of yelling, hey you," it was like, "Chris, what are you doing? Peter, publish this." And it was just a small thing that he did that brought us into the scene, and it just made it real. Because if you work together with people like that so close, you call them by name like that. And it just it just ran the scene so smoothly, and it was just such a thrill to even exchange a few lines with somebody like that.
See, now I'm gonna have to rewatch it again and find you. Because
Yeah.
I didn't see you the first time. Geek Creds said, "Hey you all." John said, "Many prayers for CJ." Thank you, sir. Appreciate it greatly. Okay, so we got about 5 minutes left. If
Yeah.
you could give somebody one gold nugget piece of advice who wanted to maybe get into voice acting or acting or both, what would you
Or
tell
being a
them?
comedian.
Or being a
Or being a
comedian, what would
comedian.
you tell them?
It's most of these kind of jobs and things like that, whether it be acting or voice acting and all that, used to only happen in big cities. Like you had to be in a New York, LA, or Boston, or what have you, a large city that had a thriving film community. And it's not as much the case anymore, especially for voice work. Especially after COVID, a lot of 99% of our auditions now are sending in MP3s. So we will get the auditions and you'll send them in. Whereas before you used to have to go there in person and lay these auditions down. So the world has changed that way. There's a lot of online sites and things like that where you can get training to be a voice actor, buying equipment has become a lot cheaper. It used to be, you would be doling out thousands and thousands of dollars, and now you can get a decent system for say $500 and set up something that will sound okay. So the opportunities are there. There's numerous sites. If you're really starting out, like a voices.com or a voices123, these are non-union type situations where they're giving people more often than not an opportunity to audition. So all those things exist now where they didn't exist when I started out. So the opportunities are there. And the same thing with acting. If you're in a city of any size, look for an acting class or an acting agent, somebody close to you, and give them a call and see what they would require for you to get involved. So it's a matter of look up the internet, look it up, give them a call and say, listen, I'm interested in doing this. Can you give me some pointers? Because each city might be a little bit different with what they require. But overall, acting classes are number one, both for voice and on camera. You need to not just look good when you're saying the words, you have to sound good when you're saying the words, and it's got to be authentic and come from a true place.
Well, especially if you're sending in demos, it's more along the lines of the sound versus the look anyway.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people say, oh, the voice acting must be easier. And it's actually not, because you only have one tool that people hear on the other end. It's just your voice. So you can look scared in a scene, and right away people know you're scared without even saying a word. Whereas if all you have is your voice and your character, they can draw them eventually looking scared, but you have to sound scared. That's your only tool. So you have to learn how to manipulate that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Peter. We greatly appreciate you and appreciate your time, because we know that it's valuable. Thank you for coming on. For those who want to learn more about Peter and what he's doing, we can check him out on Instagram under PeterKelamis. Really quick, Peter, where are you going to be in the near future?
I have a busy convention schedule coming up. The most recent ones ahead are November 16th in Dothan, Alabama, at the Dothan Civic Center, and November 30th and 1st in Bakersfield at the Collectors Vault Comic-Con at the Marriott Hotel. And you can both check each of those listings out online.
Okay, awesome. John says he loves the drip Mombi Jack-o'-lantern for the win.
Mommy just gave it a second. So that's all.
I'm rocking it.
Okay, I think I meant drape. So next week we're going to be having Eric Ortega from the 501st, and he's also a cosplayer who does Trapping Wolves cosplay. So make sure to not miss that next Tuesday, and make sure to check out Peter Kelamis on his Instagram, instagram.com/Peter Kelamis Mombi. We have about 2 minutes. Peter, is there anything you want to add?
No, you were mentioning the 501st. I mean, I really do enjoy going to conventions. A lot of times I will run into 501st in different areas of the country, and whenever they see the Star Wars credited stuff, that they always come over, and a lot of times they'll give me a patch of their local chapter and stuff. And I just want to say I love every bit of it. I keep them all, and thank you.
I love the 501st.
Yeah,
Same. I want to be in there.
Thanks for your support, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the 501st are really cool. I actually have one of their challenge coins.
I want to be in the 501st, and I want to be one of the Mandalorian mercs.
I don't have any Star Wars cosplays yet. I need a Star Wars cosplay.
I have Leia.
Same.
Only if I can.
Yeah, I do too.
Hashtag ginger swap. That's what.
Okay, get your wands to the ready. Mombi, take us out.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Peter, again, and thank you guys for watching. Awesome comments, and make sure you hit that thumbs up and you subscribe to CJ Peterson on YouTube, Mombirella on YouTube, and also follow Yukita Cosplay on Instagram. And of course, check out Peter's Instagram, because he's got some events coming up, and you can always keep track of what he's got going on there. So recently shared out a special fund that we are raising funds to help Yukita and me go see CJ in Oklahoma. And I know that a lot of you guys would love to support that. Since you can't go yourself to give her a hug, we would love to give her a hug for everybody. So y'all check that out. It's on my Facebook and all that. Till next time, guys, we will. Happy Halloween.
My birthday's Thursday, if anyone cares. Okay, bye.
Hey, don't forget to change your time, change your clocks on Sunday.
And
Bye,
Yukita's birthday is coming up as well, so y'all wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yes,
Yukita.
happy
Bye
birthday.
bye.
Happy birthday to me.